What happens at Grandma's stays at Grandma's is a model for you and your grandkids. If it's fun, it's fair game. But lately, hip pain has you grimacing more than laughing. And that's a moment you realize life's too short to put off treatment any longer.
The Joint and Spine Center is Cincinnati's leading destination for orthopedic care, with hundreds of joint replacements each year. So when a moment has the power to change the rest of your life, go to the one place with the power to change it for the better. The Christ Hospital Health Network. This changes everything.
The Pound This Podcast is brought to you by the Christ Hospital Health Network. This is the Pound This Podcast, episode 701, How Rebecca Burgin Lost 230 Pounds in 3 Years.
I want to lose weight, but I don't know how to get started.
What should I meal prep every week?
How do I get those sweet booty gains?
Inspiration for your healthy lifestyle. The Pound This Podcast with Amanda Valentine.
Thank you so much for listening to the Pound This Podcast. I'm Amanda Valentine. I'm so excited to hear the entire story of my guest today, Rebecca Burgin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Did I say your name right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Yes. Okay. I said it wrong the first time, and then I always just get so confused of I'm going to say it wrong. But we're Facebook friends and we're Instagram friends. And I deleted Facebook for a while, and then I got back on, and I just happened to see one of your posts, and I'm like, that you've lost 230 pounds. Oh my God.
I know. You commented, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so starstruck. Amanda commented my photo.
It's just that I haven't been very present on Facebook. And I was so happy I saw your post. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I got to hear this whole story, because you lost 230 pounds just through changing what you're eating and exercising, correct?
Correct. I mean, the first couple of years was just based on diet changes alone. And then I slowly went into trying to get into exercise and stuff.
Oh man. Yeah, that is exactly my story too. So take me from the beginning of, just where, I don't know, are you from Cincinnati? Did you grow up in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I actually live 5 minutes away from Cincinnati in Dayton, Kentucky.
Okay.
It's a small town, so most people confuse it with Dayton, Ohio. And I was, my story is similar to yours, which is why I really connected with your podcast in the beginning of my weight loss, is I was obese most of my life. I was always the fat girl in high school. But I mean, I was super active. I played sports and stuff, but still being overweight and, that's, not a cool thing to do. But so back in 2018 is where I started my journey, because I literally graduated college. So I had no excuse. I was doing full-time work and I was doing school full-time. So that was my excuse. Oh, I'm going to eat out. I'm just going to grab some quick meals or whatever. But I was like, well, look, now I have no excuse, and I just hate being limited, because I was at 420 pounds when I first started. And then I slowly try to change, but I wanted to get in a mindset, which is why I started listening to podcasts, which was your podcast that I started listening to.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for listening.
No problem. It was just I can connect with this person. She's been there, she's done that. So I just was like, she can do it, I can do it. And you really motivated me. I was able to listen to all your podcasts and learn all the tips and tricks. I started from way back when it was I think, wait a minute.
Yeah. So how did you find my podcast? Did you listen to me on the radio, or did you just?
Yeah. So back when you were with the radio station, I heard you mention it once, because I would listen to the radio on my way to work, and I was like, oh yeah, there's this podcast. I need to try to get into mindset, because I work in an office, and you know how hard that is. Oh, they're always bringing in all this free food and stuff, and it's not the best food. So so I started listening to your podcast. I was listening and learned tips and tricks, from eating with smaller utensils to the portion plates of child plates.
Yeah.
And so at first I began my weight loss journey with just doing portion control. And,
so were you weighing and measuring things out, or you're just kind of
I was just cutting my portions in half. And one thing I wanted to see before I actually really deep dived into it, I literally downloaded MyFitnessPal and literally logged everything I was eating, the good and the bad and the ugly. And that's when I seen I was consuming a lot of calories. And I was like, okay, I need to cut this out. So now that's my problem. And that's when I started doing the portion control.
So were you just eating all of the same foods? You're just eating a smaller portion of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I like lost like 50 pounds within that first year just by doing that. But then I wanted just to eat better. So I like started like meal prepping, especially working like third shift office job. So I started meal prepping just because it's just better to know like what you're consuming and stuff instead of just like picking up fast food or like eating out. And I just didn't like the way like, you know, eating out makes you feel. It makes you feel sluggish and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just started meal prepping. And that's when I just like try to really focus on the veggies and the protein. And that's when I started seeing more of the weight pick off.
So what kind of things were you meal prepping? I mean, were you doing like I do and prep out like days in advance, or just kind of prepping day to day, meal by meal?
At the beginning, I was doing the whole week meal prepping.
Okay.
But then I know sometimes like veggies don't last that long
Yeah.
after so I started doing like just because when we quarantine happened and we got sent to work from home, I was able just to cook while I was like on the clock, you know, on my lunch break. So I was like, yes, fresh food. I don't have to meal prep. But then I had to go back into the office because I received a promotion. And I was like, well, I got to go back to meal prep, get in that mindset. And so I started just meal prepping on a daily basis. As like the good thing about my situation is like my husband started joining my weight loss after a few months of me being in it. So he like legitimately is like my partner in crime, but like my partner in health as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so he'll be cooking like the lunch and the dinner while I'm cooking breakfast. So we're just like double teaming our meal prep.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So,
Yeah,
so tell me,
awesome.
like, what kind of things were you meal prepping? Like, what did at that point in time, what did like your meals look like every day?
So I would just pack mainly like I was trying to do like the whole pescatarian thing for a bit, but seafood's expensive, and
Yeah.
so I had to change that quickly. But I was like doing salmon and some type of veggie, so like squash or beans and green beans, and then shrimp and cauliflower, broccoli, and then we would just do like eggs, just regular eggs and bacon or sausage for like a breakfast meal prep. And then mainly we just try to focus on protein and a veggie.
Okay. Are you eating carbs?
So back then I was eating carbs. I would like eat some like mashed potatoes and stuff like that and like rice. But then back in like 2020, yeah, I mean during quarantine, I developed a sensitivity to gluten and carbs and actually fast because I got my gallbladder taken out. And then I realized like I think similar like you, carbs are just like sensitive to my body. I'll bloat and like. So I was like, I'll just like limit my carbs, but I still like occasionally do like a carb day just to have that. But for the most part, I just try to stick to a lower carb, lower fat diet.
And that just makes you physically feel better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I do the gluten stuff too since I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, but I still eat pasta and everything. I just get the gluten-free pasta and quinoa and stuff like that. But and I can feel a difference too. But it's so hard because it's like, it's not where I have that much of a sensitivity where like, I don't, have gallbladder issues and stuff like that. So it's not that hard of a hand smack away. So then it's when it's like, oh, pizza, I could still technically have that. and then it's like, oh yeah, but I do the same thing where it's like, oh, I feel crappier and I feel bloated and I feel like a balloon.
Yes.
I started having that sensitivity to peanuts too, which sucks. So I can't have peanut butter anymore because it'll make me feel like a big fat tick.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh man. So I feel you on the like discovered sensitivity to things, but that's awesome that you figured out what that is. So it's not like, you're constantly living in that, not understanding what's going on with your body.
Yeah, that's a good thing about like, being on the weight loss journey. You're able to figure out what diet suits your body and fits your lifestyle better. And then you're also able to be like more in tune to what your body is telling you, like, oh, well, I'm more sensitive to carbs, so I can just cut that down. And while, still, enjoying what life has to offer. Cause like, come on, I still eat pizza.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, pizza is great. But I limit it to where, like, if I'm getting pizza, then I'll go to a New York style crust because it's thinner.
Yeah.
But like, the good thing is, like, nowadays there's just so many alternatives to like all these products. Like, you can get gluten free, but it still tastes good, or you can get like low carb, lower fats, and it's like you're not missing the taste. You're just doing what's best for your body.
So at any point where you're like, I have over 200 pounds to lose, or are you just kind of taking it one step at a time?
I took it one step at a time because when I was so I went to my doctor and he's like, yeah, your ideal weight's this. Let's try to first start losing 70 pounds. And I was like, losing 70 pounds? Okay, that's going to happen. And I was, and he goes, oh, you'll be there. You can do it. You can do it. And I was just like, yeah, let's see this. And then like, I just dropped like 50 pounds within like the first, 6 months. And I was like, whoa, maybe I can do this. And then by the time I went back to my yearly doctor's visit, he's like, oh yeah, you lost like 70 pounds or like on the dot. I was like, maybe I can do this. 70 pounds, that wasn't too bad. And then in reality, they're like, yeah, like, my goal weight versus my weight at that time was over 200 pounds. And I'm just like, I'm not going to focus at the 200 because if I focus on that, then I'm just going to get discouraged and I'm going to like flip out and I'm going to be like, I can't do that. I can't do that. So I completely changed my mindset of what I can and cannot do during this weight loss journey, just because of like, I've shown myself what I can do and what I can overcome.
Yeah, what did it feel like whenever you lost the like 100-pound mark and then the 200-pound mark? That had to be like some crazy days. I was standing on the scale being like, oh my God.
Yeah, I'm standing on a scale. I was like, oh man, I lost this 100 pounds. And then so I like go on Google. I'm like, what does like 100 pounds of fat look like?
Oh,
and
man.
It's just like, there was no picture of like 100 pounds because I guess like a lot of people just don't get to that mark. And so they had a picture of like this 20-pound fat like thing and model. And I was like, oh, this times 5 is what I lost. And so I posted on Instagram, like, I lost 100 pounds. And that's when I started my Instagram account.
That's awesome. And so how long, so total for you to lose 230. So what has that been, about 3 years?
Yep.
That's
About 3.5
awesome.
years.
Do you
May of 2018 was when I started.
Do you have more you want to lose, or are you good where you are?
I'm good right where I am because towards the end, so I went to a personal trainer starting in November 2020, Q-Fit in Bellevue with Brad Marlowe, which he was an awesome trainer. And but I wanted a different like community, and that's when I transferred to Empower in Ludlow, ran by Christy Sloan. That she has more of a community where you can, reach out, especially when it was quarantine. Quarantine, you're like isolated. You couldn't really go out and do anything. So I was looking for more like a community to like work out with, even virtually, and just like have these fitness classes, and also being able to do strength training. Because like towards the end of my weight loss journey, I got kind of in the mindset of like eating disorders, different probably types. And I didn't want that because I wanted to be a good role model, because when I post on Facebook and Instagram, at first, when I first posted, I wanted to be for an accountability for me. I didn't mean to like actually be this role model and inspire people. And I'm glad that I can. But I wanted to be a positive role model. And when I was in that mindset of potentially being in an eating disorder, I had to change. And that's when I went into strength training, because with strength training, you're all about eating that protein. You're all about eating food to like, make your body strong and while you're recovering during your strength training. And I also wanted to start feeling strong and like empowered in a way. So that's why I changed trainers. Like there was nothing bad about my previous trainer. It was just the fact that like I wanted to change my mindset from losing weight to like, staying at a maintained weight and also being strong and fit at the same time.
That's awesome. So like, tell me how your exercise routine started after, the weights coming off. Did you just start like walking, do a bunch of cardio before you started strength training?
Yeah, the good thing about living like so close to Cincinnati, there's tons of walking trails, tons of just like bridges you can walk. So I started off, with just like, light cardio, just because like once you're at that big amount of weight, you're like, I can't really move. This is like, it hurts or whatever. But like gradually I would just increase the mileage. First I would, when I was first walking, I was like, oh, I could do a mile. That's no big deal. And I gradually just added to it. And to the point where, like, I think it was like last year. So I think it was like New Year's Eve. I was like, I want to like end the year off like really cool. And I did a half marathon amount of walking, and I was like, I'm just going to do it, bust it out. And it was like kind of cold. It was like not super cold in Cincinnati. So I'm sitting there walking at like 30-degree weather at like 13 and a half miles, just because I was like, I'm just going to end the year right. I'm just going to just walk this much. And it was like, I can't believe I was like walking 15 miles a day and stuff. I'm like, this is crazy that like this person was not me like a couple of years ago.
I did the same exact thing. So I totally feel it. And side note, I'm walking the Flying Pig this year. You should come walk it with me.
Oh, cool.
I'm doing the half marathon. So it's on Halloween this year.
Oh yeah, they changed it. I think I got an email about it because I signed up for the Flying Pig 5K last year and they delayed it. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, I did the same thing where I just really like walking, but then, I got to the same place where I was like, okay, well, I can't just keep increasing walking. And, and that's where, I started strength training too. And that's where I saw like the biggest, just, body composition changes. And I'm sure you probably saw something similar.
Yeah. I worked out like 1 month with Christy at Empower, and like within just a month, I was able to see like muscle definition. That's and so because cool. One of my biggest things is like, my twin sister, I have a twin sister, and she's like, I can't believe you're wearing tank tops. And I was like, you know what? If they don't like what my arms look like, I don't care. So then I was like, you know what? I'm going to build up some muscles and look like a badass.
Yeah.
So, and within that month, I was able to see like, the toning, the definition. And I'm just like, whoa, if I can get these results in 1 month, what am I going to do in the next couple months? And I was just able to like feel better about myself, more confident with strength training, stronger. I didn't have to like rely on somebody to like, carry up like a 20-pound box or something. I was like, I could do it myself.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so, and your husband's doing that too?
Yeah. He joined a couple months. He always joins like a couple months after I start something. I guess like I'm the guinea pig to see if something works out. So he ended up joining me with strength training. So we both go, and we're just like, both are in the same session with each other. So we're like getting personal training, but at the same time, we're able to encourage each other. Like, we have individual plans on strength training because like, everybody's different. Everybody has a different like goals. And so we have different paths when it comes to fitness, because he was always a freaking beanpole in high school. He did cross country and track, but he wanted to like get stronger. And so we both did it, and, our trainer's able to, individualize our plans, but at the same time, we're able to motivate each other while we're in the gym, which is really cool because, nobody wants to be in the gym alone and not have motivation.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in the average week, how often do you exercise?
So I pretty much exercise every day, even if it's just like a light cardio on like the weekends or like going hiking on the weekends. Me and my husband, we walk at least 4 miles each day, and then we go to strength training with Christy for like 4 days a week for about 30 to 45 minutes.
Awesome. And then what is your eating look like now? I saw on Facebook you were posting about counting macros.
Oh yeah, so we changed into the whole macros, just because with strength training you have to bump up that protein. So the biggest thing was to like see how macros versus calories, which is kind of cool because like calorie wise, you can literally eat whatever and just be in a calorie deficit. But when you're counting macros, that's when you're more crucial what you're eating, which actually helps my lifestyle because I am, I do have that intolerance to, fat and carbs. So I'm able to see how much that carbs that I'm eating or how many fats that I'm eating. So I'm not like over the limit to where I potentially may get sick.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And then I'm sure this is also a popular question for you, at least it is for me, is loose skin.
Loose skin. So funny story. Well, actually, I'm a month post-op from having abdominoplasty with
awesome.
muscle repair. So that's been my thing right now is because I'm now at that not the plateau. I'm now at the maintenance level where I'm now like, you know what? Let me get some loose skin off. And my major problem was just the loose skin on my abdomen. I'm fine with a little bit of loose skin on my arms. I can just put muscle into that. I got like a little bit of loose skin on my thighs, but muscle can help do a little bit of that. But I mean, it is self-conscious that I was self-conscious. I had that pooch that I was hiding with all my compression leggings and pants and stuff. So I was able to I was lucky that I was able to actually get the abdominoplasty because I mean that stuff is not cheap. But I wanted to, because my biggest thing is I never started this journey to be skinny. That was never my motivation. My motivation was to be fit and healthy, and I know to me mentally for myself, I can't speak for others, that even though I'm sitting there working my butt off, I'm sitting there doing strength training and, eating healthy, I can do everything in the book, but you can't exercise the extra skin off.
Yeah.
And so that's when surgery came into play. And, you just have to do what's best for you. And to me, mentally, I wanted that skin off because that wasn't the ideal Rebecca, in my opinion, because I worked so hard and I wanted to see what I worked hard for.
So how do you feel now that you've had the surgery?
I'm super confident more because I now notice that I'll walk by a mirror or something and I'll actually look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, you know what? You're looking good today. You're that outfit's great. That's on point. And then before I would even not even look in a mirror. I mean, that's also probably because of the massive weight that I was at. So it's just so weird how a journey can not only change your physical appearance but also your mental. You're more positive, you gain confidence, you actually like what you see in the mirror.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing.
So what has your husband's opinion been watching you go through this journey and watching you change?
If somebody looks on his Facebook, all what he will ever say, my beautiful wife did this, my gorgeous wife did this, and he always says that I'm such an inspiration to him, and that's the reason why he started getting healthier and getting more fit. And I'm incredibly lucky. I have a husband that literally is at my side all the time. He has my back. He encourages me even on the bad days because I'll be there was times where that scale didn't move and I was like, you know what, this is crap. I'm going to just quit. And he goes, well, why are you going to do that? Because even on your bad week, you're still better than where you were before. So he's he grounds me in a way so I don't flip off the rails.
Man, yeah, I mean, that is absolutely incredible. And that is something that you don't hear very often. I mean, at least for me, most common, I get the questions of my family or friends aren't supportive and, how am I supposed to do this journey with that. And that's just such a bummer. And I've experienced some of that myself. So to have somebody that's like, you know, so encouraging and that will jump in and do it with you, I think is huge. And it's also just be like, it's possible. You know what I mean? Of just having like the right people and surrounding yourself with the right kind of people that are there to lift you up. And not just be like, well, that's your thing, and I'm just gonna come over here and do my thing now, and not even really pay attention to it. Like that's just, I don't know. It's a bummer that so many people have to struggle with that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm incredible. Like my family, like they back me up 100% on all my decisions, and like even though my mom, she has to do that whole mom thing where she's like, hey, do you want some food while you're at my house? And I'm like, Mom, I love you. Thank you for the offer, but I can't. She actually had to change her mindset in that way too, because she was, you know, moms, they always offer food. And then at the beginning of my weight loss, my husband, he was in his last semester of college, so he was still eating that fast food. So at the beginning, I didn't have that, but at the same time, I was able to say, you know, this journey is for me. It's my lifestyle. Just because somebody else isn't, you know, on the same bandwagon or supporting me in this, I'm able to do it for myself. And that's what mindset, like somebody who struggles with the support, like, yeah, it sucks that you don't have the support behind you. But at the same time, you have to realize that you're not doing this for everybody. You're doing this for yourself. And if you want it bad enough, you'll stick with it.
So at any point in your journey, did you ever consider getting weight loss surgery?
For me personally, I never wanted the weight loss surgery just because, like, you know, there's always that negative, like, connotation about it. Like, oh, weight loss surgery is the easy way out or whatever. And, like, some people judge just super hardcore if you get it. But at the same time, I felt like me personally, it wasn't a choice just because I was like, if I work harder for this, like if I don't have that as a tool, I can, you know, appreciate the process more. I'm able to like see what fits better instead of being told what diet to eat based on, you know, getting the surgery. I was able to like, you know, listen and figure out, you know, what diet works best for me instead of just being placed on a diet. And also, I mean, I'm the type of person that doesn't really like to do like hospital and surgery thing. So I was like, you know what, weight loss surgery is not for me. It's not my thing. But I do have a sister. My older sister did do weight loss surgery, and I seen her go through it. And I'm just like, you know, that's good that it was your choice and stuff. But you know, with me, I was able to appreciate the process and the years of like painstaking work to figure it out. Because like, you know, with the weight loss surgery, you do lose it more rapidly, which, you know, that's for more people that need it immediate results. And I was just like, you know, that's not me personally, but I do see why some people do it. And, you know, good for them. Because like weight loss, regardless of what standpoint you use, it's hard. Because I mean, you have to just change your mental mindset in either stance. But I just didn't like it. I just don't know. Like, and plus my mom like was super nervous. She's like, I hear bad things about it. And I don't know if you want to do it. And I was just like, I get you, Mom. Like, don't worry, I'm not doing it. But
so what have been some of the most surprising things that you've learned in your journey?
I learned that some people will support you and some won't. Me being a supervisor in an office setting, there's some times where I'll go into work and I'm got my gallon water jug, and they're like, "Oh, you don't drink that and all day or whatever," and I'm like, "Dude, I drink this in a couple hours." I mean, and then they're like, "Oh, you don't want like." The temptation of food, especially in the offsetting, they're like, do you want this, like, I don't know, what do we have, like pizza or something? Like, do you want this pizza? I'm like, no, I have my packed lunch of squash and steak, so I'm good. And it's just the most difficult part is like you're trying. You shouldn't see it as like, oh, I have 230 pounds to lose, and so much time. It's just like, oh, I have this much weight to lose, but let's just try to like knock it out little at a time instead of seeing the whole picture. Because 230 pounds, if you would have told me a couple of years ago that I would lose that, I would have laughed.
Yeah.
But the biggest struggle has just been, the mindset and how your body changes throughout a journey, and realizing that even though your body changed, your mental status changed, you're still the same person, but you're also finding yourself within the process. And even though you did, like I changed, dramatically as a person, in the past couple of years, but it's like, I like me now than I did 3 years ago. And some people don't. And that's when you just have to like, walk away from those people, because obviously they don't support you. They like the old you, and you're like, I'm not that, drinking person anymore. I don't go out and eat garbage on the weekends anymore. And it sucks that you lose friends in the process, but at the same time, it's like, you have to do what's best for you.
Yeah. Is there anything that you've done that you weren't able to do that you wanted to do, pre-weight loss, that you're now that I'm this different confident person in a different body, that you are like, I'm going to go out and do blank?
So me and my husband, like, we've started doing like all these like new like activities, like kayaking. Like, you cannot imagine a person at 420 pounds sitting in a kayak. Because me thinking that, I think Titanic, I'm going to sink.
Jeez.
So we actually went down to Red River Gorge and did some I think it was like cave kayaking, which is really cool. I was like, I could never do this back in the day. I could probably not even fit in this kayak back in the day. And then doing 10-mile hikes. I couldn't even, like, I used to hate hiking. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to go uphill and I'm probably going to fall downhill and I'm going to be a tumbling mess. And then the biggest thing lately is just like being able to do like, core and ab workouts and knocking it out, doing push-ups. I'm just like, I could never do that. I can't do a pull-up to save my life.
Me either.
I may get there. I don't know. But pull-ups are hard. But I was like, doing push-ups, I'm like, I could never do a push-up. In high school, I was sitting there like, one of like the teachers would like make us like do push-ups if we like said a certain like term that he didn't like or whatever. Could not do a push-up in high school, and now I'm sitting there like busting out 30 push-ups, and it's like no problem.
That's awesome. So do you have any goals right now?
My goal is just like maintain. I'm now at maintenance level, which is like harder than actual losing weight. But just to keep doing strength training and get stronger, just to like feel better, because I feel a lot better because with weight to like working out and stuff, just because like I was out for 4 weeks because of my surgery that I just had, and it like literally killed me not to like be strength training, working out, going, like I had to just be on light cardio duty, and it killed me. I was like, man, this is such a bummer. Like, you don't realize how much like working out actually changes your mood and stuff. Like, it becomes a routine. You're like, no, this is my life. And you just don't realize how much you miss working out until you do work out. Because at the beginning, I was like, yes, I get a break from working out. I get a break from exercise. I get a break. And I was like bored after the second day. I was like, no, I can't do this. So then my trainer was like, well, why don't you just come and like hang out, and you can, boss your husband around and see what he's doing wrong.
That's awesome. I love it. You still just went to the gym even after surgery and you couldn't work out. It's amazing.
Yeah. So like I was 2 days post-op, like wrapped up in bandages, going to the gym just so I can boss my husband around and tell him what he was doing wrong. So I was a co-personal trainer for like 4 weeks.
Oh my God, I love it. I mean, that just shows you too, just like how much you really like love and enjoy the process, where it's exercise isn't punishment. Like, I have to keep doing this to be this certain size person. It's just like, even when you have like the permission slip to not show up, you're like, no, I love it. It's part of me and my life, and I want to be there. And I think that's such an amazing part of the journey, is like just falling in love with it.
Yeah. Cause I used to hate exercise. I did sports in high school, but like, I was like, oh man, that's why like the first couple of years when I was starting my journey, I just like tried to avoid the gym as much as possible. Like I hated going there because you think, I'm pretty sure, no, like some people may look at you and like judging you secretly, but but most people are like, no, I'm at the gym just to work out. And it's probably like in your head where you're like, oh, I'm just a fat person at the gym. And like, I am getting judged and I don't want to be here because, it's awkward. But then once you like, get out of the mindset where like, you're here for you and you're doing it to better yourself. You're like not here for everybody else. So, like everybody else's like comments or like judging you is like out the window at that point. And that way, like, you're just like, you fall in love with going to the gym and, actually, feeling better about yourself. And that's why, we first started going to personal trainers just because we wanted that one-on-one time and also being able to like actually work out correctly without being injured. Because like when you go to the gym, they're just like, you just do whatever. And I'm just like, I need a little structure in my life.
Yeah.
And then that's when we started doing that personal training. And you have to find what personal trainer fits best for you. And yeah.
Definitely. So if somebody wants to follow along on your journey, where's the best place to follow you?
So I try to keep like my Facebook more my personal, but they can follow me more on Facebook because I'm more active on there. But my Facebook, Rebecca Ann Burgin. And I also have Instagram where I post just mainly like my workout or meal prep or like my weight loss journey. And that's, I think, at Becca Burgin 0825 at Instagram.
Okay, cool. Are you cool if somebody is listening to this and they have some questions, if they reach out and kind of, ask for some help?
I'm always there to help people. I mean, if, like I said, I didn't start being on Instagram or Facebook to, put myself out there to like boast or anything. I did it for accountability myself, but apparently I inspired people along the way and became a role model. And I do have friends that have reached out and asked questions and stuff, and I'm completely open. I mean, yeah.
As a person who knows that, losing weight and making decision just to be healthier and all that, it's such a hard process. And, no matter what avenue that you choose to take it, I mean, it's a choice every day that you have to show up for yourself and make those decisions. And so to be like 230 pounds down is just such an amazing accomplishment for you, just doing that through, deciding to change your life in those ways and make those decisions and kind of figuring it out for yourself part of the way. And then also having, the knowledge of being like, this is a point where I need a personal trainer and this is where I do reach out for help. And this is what I'm doing. And like, it's such an amazing accomplishment and congratulations. And I'm so incredibly proud of you. Like that is just an immense amount of work and dedication. And you are just absolutely freaking crushing it.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you like that my podcast was helpful in your journey too. So that's amazing for me because that's why I wanted to do this, of just, because going through it sucks. I mean, you have those like crap days and weeks and it's just like where you want to give up, of like, just to have me like some resources to hear a voice that's there being like, yeah, I'm with you. And everything's not a beautiful before and after picture on Facebook and Instagram, that you're going to have those bad days, and to be like, it's not just you, it's part of the process, and you'll appreciate the journey so much more getting through those rough days, because you'll be like, oh, if I got through that, I can get through anything. And I mean, yeah, to be 3 years later, 230 pounds down, strength training, changing your husband's perspective on health and getting him on board with you too is just, that's just incredible.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, like, people think, it's 3 years, and people are like, oh man, that's so long. But in retrospect, when it comes to the weight loss journeys, you're like, that's not bad at all.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's where it's like being, everybody wants that quick, rapid weight loss. And I've done that before too, lost 60 pounds in 6 months. And it's heartbreaking when it comes back. And it's like, oh yeah, the 6 month thing sounds nice, but it's like, yeah, but whenever it's actually lasting and it takes longer, I'd rather it take longer for those decisions to kind of stick and like you said, try to really figure out like what works for me, and instead of like, oh, I'm going to try this thing and just try to fit into this box of like, no, what can I take away from this that works for me, that I want to continue this as a lifestyle. So you can have those days where pizza and donut shows up and you're like, no, well, I'd prefer to have the food I made for multiple reasons, not because I feel like I have to, but because I want to. And I think that's where the key lies of just like you, like post-surgery showing up to the gym still, like I'm here because I want to be, because I enjoy it, not because I feel like that's what I have to do to live this life. And I think that once you kind of find those sorts of things for yourself, then, you'll eventually get there. It might not take, 6 months or 3 years. It might take even longer than that. But as long as you're enjoying the process in life, it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as, you're happy.
Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest struggles I've seen with some of the people who reached out to me, and they didn't have a community, or they didn't have somebody to talk to. They didn't have anybody who's went through it, or something to a grander scale of like 230 pounds. So them being able, that's why I didn't mind people actually you're an inspiration and stuff. I'm like, no, I did it. And now I can help people if they want to reach out to me, and if they want some type of advice, sure, it may work for me and it may not work for you, but this is what happened. This is what happened in my journey. This is my personal experience. But if it helps somebody else in the long run, then, day's made at that point.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your journey and sharing your husband's journey. And congratulations on all your success, and definitely keep me posted and let me know how things are going. And if you're going to do the flying pig, I definitely want to see you there.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. I'll reach out. And like I said, I was all in starstruck, celebrity mode when you reached out to me. I was like, oh my God, Amanda Valentine knows me. And I'm like, I for sure have to do this podcast, because this podcast is what helped start my journey.
Oh my God. That's awesome. That's so fun for me. That's how that just kind of comes, full circle, where you found this podcast and it helped you, and now you're a guest on this podcast, sharing your story and helping other people. That makes my heart want to explode. I think that's so cool.
and I always believe that you're supposed to meet people even virtually or in person for a reason. So
definitely.
Awesome.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being a guest, and congratulations, and keep me posted.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely be following you on your podcast and keeping up with your latest ventures.
For info on health coaching and more, go to AmandaValentineBites.com.